Hello, St. Martin, and welcome to the Integrity Chamber's new video series, Civic Participation in the Democratic System. In this video, we will be discussing understanding your rights and responsibilities as a citizen of St. Martin. With me today is the former chairman of the Central Voting Bureau, attorney by profession, and a gentleman who actively serves his community in various ways, Mr. Jason Rogers. Mr. Rogers, welcome.
Thank you, Amanda. Thank you very much for having me, and it's an honor to be here, and I think it's a privilege as well. And especially given the subject matter, I think such an important subject matter. I always feel very, positive and energized when we speak about topics such as this. Hence the reason that I accepted the invitation to share my knowledge as well as my experience and my opinion and perspective on the subject matter. So it's going to be a fun conversation, I think.
Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
First question.
Yeah.
What are some of the democratic rights of the citizens?
Well, I think there are many democratic rights. I think one of the most imperative one is the right to vote. You have the right to freedom of religion, freedom of assembly, and also association. Also the right to be part of any political processes. You have different various rights that we have there, which are actually enshrined in our Constitution.
So we discussed the rights of the citizens. Now let's have a discussion about the responsibilities and obligations of the citizens of St. Martin. What are they?
Well, the responsibilities of the citizens of St. Martin, like I said, active participation. I just alluded to the fact that you have to stay informed. That's an obligation. But staying informed also, you have to be active in trying to be informed, to see what's happening. But also that you, in doing so, seeing what's happening within the community, the persons, let's say, for instance, we just addressed one of the rights to vote. Which I would want to allude to and to elaborate on a little bit further on. You do have finding out, for instance, if you actually cast your vote, you're part of that decision-making process. You're contributing to that decision-making process. And if it is so that you provide that particular person or party with that opportunity, if you see within 4 years that it is not what you've expected, then you have that obligation to hold that person responsible, accountable by casting your vote for somebody that actually resonates with your perspectives, resonate with what you believe in, and always study the party programs actually in order to see if it actually fits what you stands for, your norms and values, and how you wish to see St. Martin going forward.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
So how can we ensure that these rights and these responsibilities for the citizens are upheld?
Well, I think that I think we all have a responsibility in that, Amanda, because it's just not one person. I think the laws, and you also have the constitutional protection that actually ensure that these rights are upheld. But you also have an independent judiciary, which will be able to provide a fair and impartial dispute of resolutions. You have government agencies that will play a part in that, for instance, the police, but also civil society, such as civil organization, will play an important part. I think it is so important that I just mentioned the right to vote as being one of the rights that we have, and that is something that we easily take for granted. And that is something that's so, it's so near to me, not only coming from my previous position as chair of the Central Voting Bureau, but I think the right to vote is something so important, a right that our ancestors have actually fought for, and we're not able to reap the benefits of those fruits. And I look at it as my right to vote as an inheritance thereof. And in saying so, I always say my inheritance is not for sale. Our inheritance
is
not for sale.
Right. You're very right. I love that. Thank you so much for saying that. And so, when we look at, your background and the way that you actively serve your community, what is the driving force for you? Why is civic participation so important to you?
I think that is something that has always been ingrained in me as a youth, as a child growing up. But I think that the active participation, it actually allows me a voice to shape what is happening in this community, but also being of influence to the decision-making process. So I think if we're living in a society, we want to be able to influence the decision-making process. And when I say influence, by vote, of course, but also being part of that. So if I because ultimately those decisions affect my life, it affects your lives, it affects everybody's life. So you want to be able to have a say in that as well. So we should be able to shape that. It's a part of ownership.
Mr. Rogers, thank you so very much for your
You're welcome,
time.
by all means.
Thank you for your valuable contribution on this topic. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
I think it's just important that everybody remains actively involved and participating in the, in the whole process in society. And you asked me just a while ago, yeah, what keeps me involved? What makes me want to do all of this? And I think that is something that not only it has been ingrained in me as a child, but I always believe, and my parents always told me that to whom much is given, much is
required,
expected,
right?
required indeed. So I think I am blessed in terms of, having the position that I have and being able to serve St. Martin in this capacity, in different capacities. So I also think it is my obligation, I'm required also to give back to the community in various ways.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers, so much for your time and for your valuable contributions, not only to this topic, but to our community as a whole. And to you, our viewers, we thank you for watching. Stay tuned for the following video in our series, Civic Participation in the Democratic System.